All right, now that Lee has the config class wrapped up, it's time to start using it. So with that, Lee, I think in this video you're wanting to pick on the terrain demo first?
Right. Well, this is going to be another one, like when we were changing the stuff in the train generator, where it was going to take several videos to get through the whole process
Mm-hmm.
before we had a working program again. So this is going to be a similar thing. As we start changing over the magic numbers to use the config system, we're going to start breaking stuff. So things aren't going to work until we get all of the system implemented in all the different classes. So with that, we'll start by breaking the train demo, which will break everything else. And then we'll just go through step by step and fix it. Now, to start with, inside of Awake, before we call the train generator, these are basically passing in information that we have. But right now, I don't want train patch to have max height or rely on train patch's max height when I use the config system. Also, for our world data, I don't want to send in texture information. I want the train generator to be able to go look for at the config information itself and derive that information. We don't need to pass it anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these. So right now, when we get to the train generator, it's going to just say, hey, give me a new train generator. The train generator will be able to query the config class to get all the information it needs on its own.
Okay.
Likewise, we've got a couple of things up here that we've been using, this tile size count and patch update delay. Both of these we're not going to be relying on. So I can set these to 0. And then inside of Awake, we're going to ask the config class what they should be. Now, the way this works is, yeah, I should probably fix these too while I'm, well, no, they're constants. So it's like going, oh, they need to be small. No, they're constants, so they're okay. But we can't use constants now because we're going to be assigning them. So they're going to be private integer, private float. So we're going to need to rename these. So tile size count is going to be still tile size count, but just lowercase. And same with patch update delay. Now, inside of Awake, we'll go ahead and set these. So tile size count is going to equal. Now, the way we get the information is we're going to basically ask config, and right now it's not going to find it until I add it. So now I add it. I ask its setting, so I go config.setting, and because it's a dictionary, I can ask it what I'm looking for. This particular piece of information that I'm looking for is the patch row count. This will return me whatever value is stored with this key. Now what it's saving or returning is going to be a string. This is looking for an integer, so this won't work. What I need to do is tell it to use integer.parse, and that will take this string, parse it into an integer, which then can be passed into tileside count. Now, the way tileside count works is we're literally looking at, if I go to create the initial train, is it's taking the minus, so whatever tile size count is, the negative of that, to essentially the positive of tile size count or tile side count. But instead of holding tile side count, I've got an entire count of all of the rows. So what I need to do is take this information, subtract 1 from it, whoops, and divide by 2. Now, if you remember, in our any file, we put a little note that says use an odd number. So our patch row count is 5. As long as we adhere to the rule of use an odd number, whatever odd number minus 1 gives me an even number divided by 2 is going to result in an even number. In our case, we're going to end up with 5 minus 1, which is 4, divided by 2 is 2. Tile size count, or tile side count, will then be 2. So now we're going to count from -2 to +2, which plus the value at 0 gives us 5. Hope that makes sense. But that's the way that one works. Now, our patch update delay is going to be a float, so we're going to do the same thing, float parse, and then we're going to go config.setting, and the setting that we're looking for is our patch update delay. And then we put a semicolon at the end of that, hit B. We're going to get an error.
Oh, we might want an assignment operator in there.
Yeah, it's like going lag. Completely all lag. All right. So now that works. And then I expect this because I took out the arguments inside of here. So we'll get to that in an upcoming video. But these are the changes that we need. So basically we're getting the information for the TerrainDemo now derived from information that we loaded from inside our ini file.
Mm-hmm.
So the next video we're going to do the same thing again, but I believe it's the terrain patch that I have.
Okay, let's see. Yep, train patch.
Yep, so we'll do the same thing with the terrain patch. It'll be a little bit more complicated because there's a couple more variables that we're going to be implementing and we have to change up, but still nothing too bad.
Nah. All right, well, with that, that is going to conclude this video. Thanks a lot.